These 7 foods eaten before 8 p.m. can measurably boost the deepest muscle-building pulse your body has all day, the one that happens while you're completely unconscious. And the supplement industry has spent years selling you a marked-up version of every single one of them, from $30 sleep powders to fish oil pills, because there's no subscription revenue in cinnamon and ricotta. Number 6 is the one almost no man has ever heard of, let alone tried. Number 1, a turkey and sweet potato skillet. Ground turkey, a diced sweet potato, cooked together in one pan. Here's the actual mechanism, and it's not the tired turkey makes you sleepy myth you've heard 100 times. That one's overstated and mostly wrong on its own. What actually works is the combination. The carbs in the sweet potato trigger a mild insulin response that clears competing amino acids out of your bloodstream, which makes it easier for tryptophan specifically to cross into the brain and support sleep quality. Turkey alone does basically nothing for this. Turkey with a real carbohydrate next to it does. 1 cup of the skillet, eaten around 8. 15 minutes to cook, in one pan, no separate sides to clean up, no meal prep influencer choreography required. The guys pushing sleep support powders are selling you a version of this exact mechanism in capsule form for $30 a bottle. You just cooked it for $4, and it actually tastes like food instead of chalk. Number 2, salmon with roasted asparagus. 4 ounces of salmon, a handful of asparagus, olive oil, salt. Salmon is one of the few common foods that's genuinely rich in both omega-3s and vitamin D at the same time, which is rarer than it sounds when you actually look at a nutrition label. Vitamin D deficiency has been repeatedly linked in research to lower testosterone levels. It's not a guaranteed fix if you already have plenty, but if you're deficient, which a large share of guys who spend their entire day indoors under fluorescent lights actually are, correcting it is one of the few dietary levers that genuinely moves the needle. The omega-3s on top of that reduce the kind of low-grade inflammation that slows down recovery between training sessions and quietly makes every workout feel a little heavier than it should, even when your effort hasn't changed at all. 4 ounces, roasted or pan-seared. 10 minutes total. 1 sheet pan. No fancy technique required. Cheaper than a fish oil supplement that sits in your cabinet half-used because you keep forgetting to take it. Right next to the multivitamin you also forgot about weeks ago. Number 3, ricotta with a dash of cinnamon. No added sugar. Ricotta is one of the slowest digesting protein sources you can eat, dominated by casein, which releases amino acids into your bloodstream gradually over several hours instead of all at once. That matters specifically at 8 p.m. because you're about to go 6 to 9 hours without eating anything at all. Without a slow digesting protein source before that stretch, your body starts pulling from its own muscle tissue partway through the night to keep amino acid levels steady, quietly undoing part of what you built in the gym that same day, while you're fast asleep and completely unaware it's happening. Half a cup, straight out of the container. Cinnamon on top if you want it to taste like something other than a gym meal. Costs about $2. The overnight recovery shake with a casein blend written across the label in bold letters is selling you this exact same protein, blended, marked up, and shipped to your door in a box with a tracking number and a hero image of a guy who probably doesn't even drink the stuff. Here's the part most guys never connect, and it changes how the rest of this list should sound to you. Muscle isn't built while you're awake and moving. It's built while you're completely unconscious, during the deepest stages of sleep, when your body releases the majority of its daily growth hormone in one concentrated pulse, usually in the first few hours after you fall asleep. Miss that window, or walk into it poorly fueled, dehydrated, half-drunk, or wired on caffeine from a 4 p.m. energy drink you didn't think twice about. And you're not training harder tomorrow to make up for it. You're just repeating the same mistake on a loop, night after night, wondering why progress feels slower than it should, given the effort you're already putting in during the day. Every single item on this list exists for one reason: to protect that one nightly pulse instead of accidentally sabotaging it without even realizing that's what you were doing. Number 4, tart cherry juice, concentrate. 1 to 2 tablespoons mixed into water. This is the one with the double mechanism, and it's the one most guys have never even heard of, let alone tried on purpose. Tart cherries are one of the few natural food sources that actually contain measurable melatonin, the hormone your brain uses to regulate when you fall asleep. On top of that, they're loaded with anthocyanins, the same antioxidant compound studied specifically for reducing exercise-induced inflammation and muscle soreness after hard training sessions. So, you're getting a sleep signal and a recovery compound from the same tablespoon, which is more efficiency than most guys get from an entire cabinet full of supplements they bought and stopped using within a month. Research on Montmorency tart cherry juice, specifically, has shown measurable improvements in both sleep duration and post-exercise soreness in trained individuals. 1 to 2 tablespoons of the concentrate, diluted in water, about an hour before bed. A bottle of melatonin gummies with the cartoon moon printed on the label costs about the same and does roughly half the job this does. Number 5. 2. Kiwi fruit, eaten whole, skin optional, depending on how adventurous you're feeling that night. This one sounds too simple to matter, which is exactly why most guys scroll right past it without a second thought. A small clinical study tracking regular kiwi consumption before bed found measurable improvements in how fast people fell asleep and how long they stayed asleep through the night. It's not a massive body of research. It's one well-cited study, not 50, so I'm not going to stand here and oversell it to you like it's a miracle fruit that fixes everything. But kiwi is also naturally rich in serotonin precursors and antioxidants, which lines up logically with the sleep quality mechanism being studied in the first place. 2 kiwis, skin on if you don't mind the texture, skin off if you do. 90 seconds, no prep, no blender, no cleanup, no excuse. 4 and 5 were about signaling your brain to shut down properly for the night. 6 and 7 are about making sure your body actually uses that shutdown instead of wasting it lying there half awake at midnight scrolling through your phone anyway. Like nothing on this list ever happened. Number 6. A small handful of almonds, roughly a quarter cup. Almonds are one of the more concentrated natural sources of magnesium in common food, and most guys are walking around with more of a gap here than they realize, because nobody checks for it until something feels off. Magnesium plays a direct role in activating the GABA receptors in your brain, the same receptor system responsible for slowing down nervous system activity and letting you drop into deep sleep instead of shallow, restless, tossing and turning sleep that leaves you tired at 7 a.m. anyway. Guys training hard lose magnesium through sweat constantly and rarely replace it through food, which is part of why some of you sleep a full 8 hours and still wake up feeling like you barely slept at all. A quarter cup, raw or dry roasted, no honey glazed version that turns them into dessert and cancels out the entire point of eating them. Costs about 50 cents a serving. The magnesium glycinate bottle sitting next to the melatonin gummies at the pharmacy is selling you the same mineral you could have had in your desk drawer this whole time for a fraction of the price and none of the marketing. Number 7. Chamomile tea. 1 full cup, brewed properly for at least 5 minutes, not dunked for 10 seconds and called done because you were too impatient to wait. Chamomile contains a compound called apigenin, which binds to the same GABA receptors in your brain that calm nervous system activity and ease the transition into sleep. It's one of the more consistently studied herbal compounds for this specific effect, which is honestly more than you can say for most things sold in a bottle with the word calm printed on it in a soft pastel font. This is also the item that ties the whole night together. Everything else on this list fuels the process biologically, and this is the ritual that tells your brain the process is officially starting. No exceptions. 1 cup, 30 minutes before you actually go to sleep, phone already face down somewhere else in the room. Not 6 inches from your pillow where it's been sitting every other night, waiting to ruin all of this. If a cup of tea in a dark room sounds too simple to be the final step in a video about building muscle, that's exactly the point. Simple is what works. Complicated is what sells. One thing that undoes almost everything on this list if you let it. Alcohol at 8 p.m. I'm not telling you to never have a drink again for the rest of your life. I'm telling you what it actually does, because most guys genuinely have no idea and just assume 1 drink is harmless. Alcohol measurably suppresses testosterone production, and it fragments REM sleep specifically, the exact stage tied to a large share of your nightly recovery. 1 drink probably isn't ruining your physique on its own, but if your 8 p.m. routine regularly includes 2 or 3 to unwind after a long day, you're actively working against every single item on this list at the same time. And no amount of tart cherry juice or chamomile tea is going to outmuscle that decision. That's not me being dramatic for the sake of the video. That's just what the research on alcohol and sleep architecture consistently shows, whether you want to hear it tonight or not. If 7 items feels like a lot to start with, here's the floor. Tonight at 8 p.m., half a cup of ricotta with cinnamon, 1 cup of chamomile tea, 30 minutes before bed. 2 items, 5 minutes total. Nothing to cook beyond opening a container and boiling water. Once that's automatic for a week and you're not even thinking about it anymore, add the tart cherry juice, then build the rest in 1 item at a time from there. You don't need the full 7 locked in on night 1. And trying to force all 7 immediately is how most guys quit by day 3. You need to stop treating 8 p.m. as free time you owe nobody and start treating it as the setup for the biggest recovery window you get all day, every day, whether you show up for it or not. Here's the truth: the sleep supplement industry doesn't want you connecting. Most of what's sold to you in gummy form, powder form, or a $30 bottle with the moon printed on it is a marked up version of something sitting in a regular grocery store, priced for people who'd rather buy the shortcut than learn the actual mechanism behind it. You just learned the mechanism. Next video, I'm covering the exact opposite mistake. The habit most guys have right after they wake up that's quietly working against everything we just covered tonight. If this changed how you think about your evening, subscribe, because this channel exists to keep taking apart what the industry doesn't want. Explain this clearly. 8 p.m. was never wasted time. You just never got the memo. Now go put the phone down and let your body do the work it's already built to do.